Hello there. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. I'm laughing because I don't remember which corner I'm supposed to look at in order to have the proper gaze. Anyhow, hope I got the right one. My name's Lorene, and I promised a video on two middle grade books, and so you're getting two videos this week, so hurrah! Um, I'm not sure what the video is going to be like in terms of that little piece in there. That's a window, and it's not bouncing back on the screen here, so I hope it's okay for the viewers. All right, the two books I have are kind of fun. They're both romps, and the first one is The Emperor's, let me get that right. The Emperor's Ostrich by Julie Berry. So Julie Berry is the author of two recent YA books, Dolorosa and The War. What is it? Something about the war. Anyhow, they were very interesting books. I really enjoyed Dolorosa, and the one that I can't remember, I didn't enjoy. So this book is kind of in between, because there's parts of it I really liked and parts of it that I bit meh. So I have to take my YA brain and put it into a middle grade reader brain. And the author, or I'm sorry, the book blurb describes this plot as magic and mayhem abound in this lively wild ostrich chase of an adventure. And that's a pretty good summation. We meet Begonia, who is a milkmaid, daughter of a single parent and there's a sister, Peony, who does almost no work, and the mom is kind of blind to the fact that Peony is the favored daughter, and Begonia is the one who's the reliable one, does all the stuff. So Alfalfa the cow goes missing. Mom sends Begonia off on what should have been a simple journey to fetch the cow. So in the background, unbeknownst to this farming family, is an emperor, and the emperor is about to receive his scepter. He's 22, and he is just has the sort of maturity level of about a 5-year-old. And so an ancestor of the emperor is watching this whole scenario and decides to intervene. And so they're not gods, they're spirits. They're kind of semi-supernatural, and there is another supernatural character who sees the ancestor doing his intervention where the emperor is and decides, hey, that's not good, we're not supposed to be interfering on this. So she decides that she's going to put her spin on things, and she chooses Begonia as the antidote to what's happening with the emperors. And the emperor is kidnapped. And the ostrich is chosen as his kind of guardian, if you like. This great big huge animal protects the emperor from all sorts of shenanigans there's panthers in the woods, and there's potential kidnappers, and then there's the guards, and there's an uprising when it's discovered that the emperor is no longer where the emperor is supposed to be. 3 of the lords come in and decide, hey, this is perfect timing. We're just gonna make ourselves the emperor and the chancellor and whatnot. So that kind of crisis is happening at the capital, and back with Begonia and the missing Alfalfa, there are some crazy things along the road. She meets a woman with a baby and a woodcutter. She meets an old woman. Everybody's giving her gifts, so it's got that sort of magical journey, getting a gift trope. But the funny part is Alfalfa just keeps getting further and further ahead of Begonia. She just can't catch up. Sooner or later, Alfalfa and the ostrich, who is nameless, meet and fall in love. Well, the consequence of that, of course, is that Begonia and the emperor meet and do not fall in love, because their emperor is not a lovable guy. Somewhere in the middle of all of this pops up Key, who is the finder of lost things. And he's a boy who has just walked away from home. He's the youngest of about 1 million children, and he's just hungry, and he's really looking for a square meal. And so he latches on to Begonia and her quest. And eventually they all come together, the ostrich, the cow, Begonia, the emperor, and Key. And of course, the dilemma at the capital of the usurping emperor needs to be resolved. And somehow Mum gets into the story. She follows Begonia, and of course the ancestors get into the story. And it's madcap. It's a fun plot. I think that I've been reading other middle grade books for quite a number of months now, and this has been a step back in time. It's more. Well, I meant to look up when it was published. Sorry. 2017. So it has an old timey flavor to it. In I don't know. It's sort of. I thought it was going to have been written sort of more in the early 1918 kind of thing. But it's just got a flavor of an old timey story, an old timey fairy tale, folk tale kind of thing. So it has a lot of magic, a lot of adventures, a lot of snappy dialogue, a lot of interesting side characters that come in who are key to solving the problem of the moment. So it's a journey, it's a quest, it's madcap. And I remember one of my commenters saying that she was a little bit tired of characters who don't have character development. Well, Begonia is a very solid feet on the ground kind of character. Key is just a whimsical, delightful little sidekick. But the Emperor does have character development. And that's pleasant to see. He really doesn't know anything except being his every desire being spoiled. He hasn't been given an opportunity to grow in any kind of a way. So the ancestors' goal was for him to have some encounters that, forced him to be himself, to stand up and do what needs to be done. So, yeah, I think I really recommend this one. I guess I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I've read other books that have engaged me a bit more. But in terms of shenanigans, it's right up there. So, in the vein of folktales and shenanigans, I have for you Barefoot, Helen, and the Giants. This is written by Andy Jones and illustrated by Katie Brosnan. Now, God love Katie Brosnan. She's done a beautiful job of the illustration, and it's not for me at all. I don't know what it is about this. It's just an aesthetic choice. She's done a beautiful job of capturing the characters and capturing the adventures. And she's done it in both in color and in black and white, or I guess gray and white. It's very well done. It's just from an aesthetic point of view. There's something about the facial gestures, I think, that just are a bit, I don't know. Well, let me see if I can get a picture of Helen. Let me see. No, of course, now that I want one, I can't find one. Okay, there's Helen and her parents. Are you seeing? There we go. Yeah, do you see how the faces are kind of distorted? And I don't know, I guess I like my faces to be slightly more symmetrical. What a dumb thing to say. However, Helen is barefoot. Helen has been lost as a baby, lost to her parents, and she's being discovered by bears, and bears have raised Helen till she's a young girl, and at a certain point the bears have encouraged her to go off and find the parents. So these parents that we see right at the beginning that I just showed you, they discover Helen and they adopt her. So they're having a good time for a while, and then circumstances change. They have to leave their bucolic setting and head to the city. And Helen goes along, although she's been raised in the woods for so long that the city's just never going to be a good place for her. And she decides to stay in the woods. And in the woods, but she's got all the skills she needs to survive, so it's not a ridiculous choice. There are giants that she comes across, and they are real mean, nasty characters. So she manages through trickery to get the giants to kill each other, and of course she plays a hand in the death of one. The story kind of moves on, and we meet the princess and the king. And they've heard this story sort of through the gossip vine, and they want to find out who actually did this. So they set up an inn where stories are told, and in order to stay at the inn, you've got to be able to tell a story along with an accordion player giving the background ambiance. It's just hilarious. So, I don't want to give it away. I've already given you quite a lot of details for what's going to happen on this journey. But Helen, of course, she's not really saving the day because those giants are happening in the middle of the story and nobody's being troubled by the giants. So it's just about storytelling. This Andy Jones has done in the back, there's a blurb on all the people that helped him comment on the story, but as well all the different folk tales. Now he's from Newfoundland, Labrador, and there's a number of folk tales that he has been inspired by, and this was written as the 50th anniversary of Newfoundland joining the Canadian Confederation. And so there's Molly Whoopie and Jack and the Three Giants and Marnie Parsons. They're all stories that have influenced him. It's just a really good romp. I really enjoyed it. I guess, having said all that, that must make it Canadian. Yes, Running the Goat Press, Canadian. So that's a fun part too, that it's Canadian. I really recommend this. I think that there's a lot that could be played with, whether this is a homeschooling book or a book that teachers could read in the classroom. There's so much that could be taken out in terms of illustrations and journeys and heroines. There's mixed families of different kinds. There's love that is unconventional. There's nature. Oh yeah, there's just quite a lot that you can work with in this book. Now I didn't notice that, but there's a little gray cat in the story, and you'll probably never see it. There's a little gray cat as part of the story too, which is actually part of the reason why the emperor got in trouble in the first place. He banished all the cats from the kingdom. So that was his first mistake. Don't piss off a bunch of cats. So these are two really, really good adventure stories. I recommend them both highly. And I'll see you next week with just one review, I hope. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to say, I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true. Bye-bye.